Okay, well, it's time to look at the business news now, and a lot of concentration on that top story, the referendum in Catalonia. Delano de Souza is back with us in studio. Morning again, Delano.
Morning.
Spain really maintaining this hard line, saying it will not let Catalonia separate from the rest of Spain. Possibly, is that due to the economy in Catalonia?
That's right. Madrid really digging in its heels, Eve. To put it simply, Catalonia is Spain's most prosperous region. Just 16% of the Spanish population lives in Catalonia, but the region contributes 19% to Spain's overall GDP. That's roughly about 1.1 trillion euros. Catalonia also creates more jobs than other regions of Spain. If we take a look at the unemployment rate, at 13.2% versus 17.2% in the rest of the country. So clearly a lot of jobs being created, a lot of people, more people working in Catalonia than the rest of the country. GDP per capita figure also at 28,000, higher than the rest of the country there at 24,000.
So what kind of jobs are they working in? What kind of sectors does it attract?
Well, there's a whole range of sectors. In fact, to give you some perspective, Catalonia drew in 14% of the overall foreign direct investment after the capital, Madrid. The region also exports a lot. 25% of the goods made in Catalonia gets exported abroad, 35% to the rest of Spain. Now, this raises the question as to what happens to those exports if Catalonia were to stand on its own 2 feet. To export to the rest of Spain, will it have easy access to the Spanish market? And more broadly, will it have access to the European market? With Brexit, we already have so many questions being raised. Imagine Catalonia.
Yeah, we'd have to apply again to be an EU member.
Exactly. Also, let's take a look at the sectors. We have retail, which is big in Catalonia, one of the biggest retail brands in Europe. Mango is, in fact, based in Catalonia. Then we have agribusiness. The region does produce a lot of pork. Catalonia is also a major auto manufacturing hub, the second largest, in fact, in Spain. Global auto brands like Nissan and Volkswagen are present in the region. And Spain, in fact, is the second largest car manufacturer in the world. So a huge impact if Catalonia were to go its own way. Not far from the city of Barcelona is the city of Tarragona, which makes half of all the chemicals produced in Spain. So clearly there's a lot there. Plus, we also have the tourism sector.
And give us an idea, because when we think of Catalonia, notably think of Barcelona, I do think of tourism, but how important a sector is it?
It's huge, not just for Catalonia, but for Spain as well. To give you some perspective, 44 million passengers passed through Barcelona's El Prat airport last year. That's the second highest figure after Madrid. 18 million tourists visited Catalonia in 2016. It's the most visited region in Spain between nightlife, beaches, arts and culture. The trend is on the rise. It has been on the rise for the past couple of years. But it's not all good news for Catalonia, even. That should be said. Because if the region does become independent, we have the question of what happens to Catalonia's debt. Local debt in the region stands at 32.5%. Madrid could turn around and say that if Catalonia wants its independence, it should pay 19% of its debt nationally. That's the same, and that figure would be 100% of Catalonia's overall gross domestic product.
Now, Delano, it's 9:20 here in Paris. Have the markets been reacting already to that referendum?
Well, European markets have opened the session. Here's a look at the initial figures for you. For more on the market reaction, we can now go across to the Euronext, where our business editor, Stephen Carroll, is standing by. Good morning, Stephen. How are the figures looking for you?
Well, here at the Paris Stock Exchange, it was a relatively calm start to trading. The CAC 40 here is up by about 0.2% a short time ago, and that's a similar picture across most of the main European markets. So no spillover effects from what happened in Catalonia, but on Spain's stock market, the IBEX 35, which is the benchmark of shares there opened the day down 1.3%. It's still around that level now, a couple of minutes into trading. And what we know is that the banks there have been the sectors that we've seen significant falls on. CaixaBank, which is Spain's third largest lender, headquartered in Barcelona, they're down around just over 1% in trading. Santander, the banking group, which of course has operations across Europe, their shares down by about 1% as well. But those are really the biggest percentage falls that we're seeing that could be loosely connected to what's happened in Catalonia, which is pretty muted. I mean, if you consider the IBEX is down over 1% today, this year the share index is up by 11%. So it's a fairly muted fall in the greater scheme scheme of things for the Spanish stock markets. Anyway, a couple of international companies we had been keeping an eye on because they have important business operations in Catalonia. Volkswagen, for example, has a number of plants in the region that produce their Seat cars. Their shares unaffected. They're up today in trading. Similarly, the food group Nestle, they have their headquarters for Spain in Barcelona. No effect on their shares yet either. And this feeds into what market analysts were saying in the run-up to this referendum as well, that a Catalonian independence still seems like a fairly remote possibility for the markets, at least for now. We had seen a dip earlier in trading in the euro against the dollar. That's fairly moderate as well, though, and may well we see those falls erased as the day's trading goes on. One of the market analysis that I was reading from the investment bank Natixis last Friday said that, quite simply, do the markets think that Catalonian independence will happen this year? The short answer is no, and we're seeing that played out in the market reaction today, which across the board is fairly muted.
Stephen, thank you very much for that update. Stephen Carroll there at the Euronext in Paris. That wraps up the business news. I'll hand it back to you.